Kylian Mbappe is the perfect youngster. He won the World Cup at just 19 years of age. Sometimes people don't realize how insane that is, and he's not stopping anytime soon. He is getting better with each year, and as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And Mbappe is a very controversial figure. For some, he is arrogant. For others, he is a great guy. But is he too selfish? To answer that question, we have to look at his story to becoming one of the greatest footballers this decade. He was born on 20th December 1998 in Paris, France. He was always good at dribbling, but his best natural trait was his speed. Nobody could catch Mbappe, even when he was very young. And that's not surprising, as he said that his favorite players were Zinedine Zidane and Cristiano Ronaldo. When he was a kid, he had a nanny whose entire family were AC Milan fans. So she gifted him a shirt with Robinho from AC Milan. That explains the video in which he wore a Milan shirt, but still he always wanted to play for Real Madrid, his dream club. And until this very day, every summer there are rumors that he will go to Spain, and maybe this year will finally be the one where he moves to Real Madrid. And so we move on to the beginning of his journey. Mbappe began his career at AC Bondi. At only 6 years old, he was different than the other kids. He had speed and dribbling. Some even called him the best player ever for his age. In the end, he moved to the Clairefontaine Academy, where big clubs started noticing him. When he was 11, Real Madrid invited him to train with the under-12s. At 14, he went to Chelsea, where he played a match for the youth team against Charlton Athletic. His decision though was to settle at Monaco. And it turned out to be the best decision of his life. In 2015, he was brought to be in Monaco's B team, but he showed such levels of maturity and skills that they couldn't leave him there. Basically, he was too good for his age. So he got promoted to the first team in just 3 weeks since coming to Monaco. In December 2015, he made his first team debut, becoming Monaco's youngest first team player ever, aged just 16. In February 2016, he scored his first goal against Troyes at just 17 years of age, becoming Monaco's youngest first-team goal scorer and breaking Thierry Henry's record in the process. He was just a phenomenon since the start. Mbappe never stopped and he became a monster. He scored against Manchester City in the round of 16 first leg in the Champions League. In the second leg, he scored again and helped Monaco beat City 3-1 on that night. The score on aggregate was 6-6, so Monaco advanced with the away goals rule. And in that Champions League campaign, he made his name known to the world. Monaco were the underdogs, but they went all the way to the semi-finals, where they lost to Juventus. And guess who was one of the most important pieces of that team? Mbappe, of course. He still had the likes of Bernardo Silva and Fabinho alongside him, but he still deserves a lot of credit for that incredible story. In the quarterfinals, Monaco met Borussia Dortmund. Mbappe won a penalty and scored 2 away goals. At the same time, he dropped one of the coldest pictures ever taken in football. In the second leg, he scored the first goal and Monaco won 3-1, advancing to the semi-finals, where they were eliminated by Juventus. But Mbappe scored again. Still, it wasn't enough, as they lost 4-1 on aggregate. In the 2016-2017 season, Kylian scored 26 goals in 44 matches and he won the Ligue 1 title. That season was the year people found out who Mbappe was. The world was shocked and surely not ready for what he had to bring. He was so good that PSG were desperate to get his signature. Real Madrid wanted him as well, but they couldn't guarantee him a starting spot in their team, as they had Bale, Ronaldo and Benzema. So Mbappe chose Paris Saint-Germain. They bought him for 145 million euros plus 35 million in add-ons, making him the most expensive teenager ever and the second most expensive transfer ever in football, behind his teammate Neymar. And so the prestigious PSG project began. They had the most expensive transfers in history and they wanted the Champions League title the most. Mbappe was handed the number 29 shirt upon arrival and he came to hunt the European trophy. He scored on his debut for PSG and 4 days later he scored his first UCL goal for PSG against Celtic. On 6th of December he scored his 10th Champions League goal in a defeat against Bayern Munich, becoming the youngest player to reach that mark. He did it at 18 years of age. Then, the defining season arrived in Mbappe's career, the 2018-2019 season. In July, he was given the number 7 from Lucas Moura. He wanted to make that number justice, so he didn't disappoint. In his first League One game, he scored 2 goals against Guingamp. On 8th of October, he scored 4 goals in just 13 minutes against Lyon, and he became the youngest player at 19 years of age to score 4 goals in a League One game. He was so good that on December the 3rd, he was awarded the Copa Trophy, which is awarded to the best player under the age of 21. In the same season, disaster struck for PSG. Their most wanted trophy was, of course, the Champions League. They did good in the competition until the quarter-finals, which was like the cursed round for them, and this time was no different. They met Manchester United and PSG beat them at Old Trafford 2-0. But then the return was not what the Parisians wanted. They lost 3-1 at home against United and were knocked out of the UCL on the away goals rule, and Mbappe's dream was shattered again. He tried his best, but it wasn't enough. Later in the season, he scored a hat-trick in a 3-1 win against his former team, Monaco. He won League One, the Player of the Year award, and the league's top scorer with 33 goals. But the next season was when he almost achieved everything. In 2019-2020, Mbappe became the youngest player to score 15 goals in the Champions League at the age of 20, after scoring a perfect hat-trick against Club Brugge. But because of the pandemic, the season was called off, and on 1st of May 2020, PSG became League One champions. Mbappe was joint top scorer, but again, because of the pandemic, some things changed. So he actually was picked as the top scorer because he had a superior goals per game ratio than Ben Yedder. On July 24th, 2020, PSG won the Coupe de France and Mbappe was injured in the final. Everybody thought that it was something very serious and he might be damaged for his whole career. But fortunately, everything is good now. PSG also won the Coupe de la Ligue without Mbappe and completed the domestic treble. All they had to do was to win the Champions League. Mbappe returned from injury in the match against Atalanta in the quarter-finals. He assisted Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting's match-winning goal, and PSG went all the way to the UCL final where they met Bayern. And because of the pandemic, the UCL matches were only one leg. So to be honest, I don't think that PSG would have made it to the final in a normal Champions League. They just don't have the experience. Anyway, PSG lost to Bayern Munich, and so Mbappe was left with no European trophy again. But he never gave up. In the 2020-2021 season, he scored 100 goals for PSG, becoming the 5th player to do so. He also became the youngest player to score 20 goals in the Champions League, but this record was later broken by Erling Haaland in the same season. The UCL campaign continued strong for PSG, as in the quarterfinals they beat Barcelona 4-1 in the first leg, with Mbappe scoring a hat-trick. He became the 3rd player to score a hat-trick against Barcelona in the UCL after Faustino Asprilla and Andriy Shevchenko. His hat-trick also meant that he has overtaken Pauletta's total of 109 goals to become PSG's 3rd all-time top scorer with 109 goals. At 22 years old, he just became an all-time club legend. and some may say that this is easy since he played for PSG. But this is still very impressive. In the second leg against Barcelona, Mbappe scored again from a penalty, becoming the youngest player to score 25 goals in the UCL, aged only 22 years. And this is when his performances really started to become insane. PSG met Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals, a very strong team, the one who won the competition previously, and Kylian was there to stop them. He scored 2 goals in the first leg at the Allianz Arena. Although he was incredible, PSG still got knocked out of the competition by Manchester City in the semi-finals. And to add salt to the wound, PSG didn't even win the Ligue 1. They were outplayed by Lille. But he still won the Ligue 1 Player of the Year award. That didn't matter in the end. Because what was going to happen at PSG, no one ever expected. PSG were already a stacked team, but the 2021 summer transfer window was just crazy. Messi transferred to Paris after Barcelona. It was a historic transfer. He left his boyhood club to join France, and it wasn't just any team. Mbappe alongside Messi and Neymar would form an amazing trio, at least on paper. To say that the world had expectations is to say nothing. Everyone expected them to destroy every football team in the world, and as you may see, this didn't happen. At the beginning of the season, Mbappe was booed because of the rumors that he will join Madrid. Later, on 29th of August, Messi made his debut for PSG. The match ended as a 2-0 win for the Parisians, with Mbappe scoring 2. On that day, he showed that he still can lead this team, even with the best player in the world in it. On December 2021, Mbappe scored twice against Monaco in Ligue 1 and became the youngest player to score 100 goals at 20 years and 357 days old. And then the real games came to the show. It was time for Real Madrid against PSG. And everyone thought back then that if Madrid defeated PSG, then Mbappe would go to them. But if PSG won, he would stay. In the first leg, the Parisians won 1-0 at home, with Mbappe scoring the only goal. But then, everything changed at the Bernabeu. Mbappe scored the opening goal again, but it wasn't enough as Madrid made a sensational comeback and won 3-1. And that defeat changed everything, except Mbappe's club. He remained at PSG, and the contract he signed was just crazy. He extended his contract until 2025, with 4 million euros as his monthly wage, making him the highest paid player in the world. After his extension, he scored a hat-trick in a 5-0 win against Metz to finish the season with 28 goals as the top scorer in Ligue 1. But that's not all. He also had 17 assists, which made him the top assist provider, becoming the first player to finish as both top scorer and top assist provider in Ligue 1 history. The 2022-2023 season is where he established himself as the greatest PSG player ever. On 11th of October, he scored a penalty in the UCL against Benfica in a 1-1 draw, becoming the leading top scorer for PSG in European competitions with 31 goals. On 23 of January 2023, Mbappe became the first PSG player to score 5 goals in a match, including a 10-minute hat-trick in a 7 win against Pays de Cassel. On 26 of February, Mbappe scored 2 goals and assisted another as PSG defeated Marseille 3-0 in Le Classique. He thus became the club's joint all-time top goal scorer with 200 goals, equaling Edinson Cavani's record. And in the match against Nantes, Mbappe scored his 201st goal for PSG, becoming the club's all-time leading top scorer. He ended the League One campaign with 29 goals, to become the top scorer for the 5th time in a row. He also ended the season with the League One Player of the Year award for a 4th time in a row. On 13th of June 2023, he released an official statement that he will not renew his contract with PSG, which was set to expire in June 2024, maybe because of the Champions League failures, thus leaving PSG only with Neymar if he was to stay. And so, the incredible trio of Neymar, Messi and Mbappe came to an end. Messi left to join Inter Miami, Mbappe is set to leave next summer, and Neymar is still searching for a club. They had so much potential, but in the end, the project failed. But one thing Mbappe didn't fail at is the national team, and his incredible legacy began on 17th of May 2018, when he was called up to the French squad for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. On 21st of June 2018, he scored his first World Cup goal against Peru. This made him the youngest French goal scorer in the World Cup history, at only the age of 19. After the group stages, he broke Messi's heart after defeating Argentina 4-3. Mbappe was man of the match and he scored 2 goals. And his incredible form wouldn't stop here. France went all the way to the final because of him. Against Croatia, he scored a banger from 25 yards. France then won the final 4-2. He became the second teenager after Pelé to score a goal in the World Cup final. He even received the FIFA World Cup Best Young Player award. Then, the famous Mbappe downfall period came at the UEFA Euro 2020. In the match against Switzerland, he provided an assist for Benzema, but the game ended 3-3, so it went to penalties. Mbappe failed to score the decisive penalty and France were out, and social media simply destroyed him because of his ego. But this period didn't last long, as he was back for the 2022 World Cup. It's just something with Mbappe and World Cups. In the first match against Australia, Mbappe was involved in 3 goals out of 4. 4 days later, he scored 2 goals against Denmark to win the match 2-1. This way, France qualified for the next round, breaking the mysterious World Cup champions curse. Then, his inner demon was released in the match against Poland, as he scored 2 insane goals and won the match 3-1 for France. After defeating England and Morocco, France went to back-to-back World Cup finals. It was either history for Mbappe or legacy for Messi. And it's fair to say that Mbappe tried everything. Argentina led 2-0 with just over 10 minutes remaining. Mbappe scored twice to send the game to extra time. Then he had to carry France again, as Messi scored to make it 3-2. But again, Mbappe never gave up. He scored a penalty and the score was 3-3. The game went to a penalty shootout. He scored his penalty again, but it wasn't enough. Still, he scored a hat-trick in the biggest final in the world. His performance was just astonishing, yet not enough. He secured the tournament's golden boot with 8 goals. He also became the World Cup top scorer in finals with 4 goals. It's fair to say that in World Cups, Mbappe is him. And that, my friends, was the history of Mbappe. He is still young and has the future ahead of him. Nothing can stop this guy on his day, and his journey to the top was incredibly fast. He is living every boy's dream, but Mbappe needs to make the right decisions to make sure that he will remain at the top. One of them would be to sign for Real Madrid and leave PSG. Madrid is the club of his dreams, so if he wants to prove something, he should go to Spain. Maybe he will carry on Ronaldo's legacy and will be the perfect heir for him.